Negative screening and exclusions are key aspects of ESG: environmental, social, and governance. Investment strategies. In this part of our ESG tutorial, we will explore the concept of negative screening and how it is applied in the context of ESG investing. What is negative screening? Negative screening is a method used by ESG investors to exclude certain companies or sectors from their investment portfolios based on specific ethical or sustainability criteria. The goal is to avoid investing in companies that are involved in activities deemed harmful or socially irresponsible. Negative screening allows ESG investors to align their portfolios with their values and principles. By excluding companies engaged in controversial activities such as fossil fuel extraction, arms manufacturing, or human rights violations, investors can demonstrate their commitment to sustainability and social responsibility. Negative screening is implemented through a two-step process: identification and exclusion. 1. Identification. The first step is to define the criteria and values that guide the screening process. This can be done by selecting specific ESG frameworks, such as the United Nations Global Compact or the Principles for Responsible Investment, PRI. These frameworks provide guidelines and principles for identifying companies engaged in unethical or unsustainable practices. 2. Exclusion. Once the criteria are established, companies that do not meet the specified ESG standards are excluded from the investment universe. This can be done through the use of negative screens, such as exclusion lists or restricted sectors. For example, an investor may choose to exclude companies involved in tobacco, gambling, or weapons manufacturing. There are several categories of negative screening criteria commonly used by ESG investors. 1. Environmental criteria. Companies involved in environmentally harmful activities like fossil fuel extraction, deforestation, or pollution may be excluded. 2. Social criteria. Companies with poor labor practices, human rights violations, or involvement in controversial issues like tobacco or firearms may be excluded. 3. Governance criteria. Companies with weak corporate governance, board diversity, or instances of corruption and fraud may be excluded. 4. Controversial weapons. Investors may choose to exclude companies engaged in the production of controversial weapons, such as landmines or cluster munitions. Negative screening offers numerous benefits for ESG investors. 1. Aligning investments with values. Negative screening allows investors to ensure that their investments do not support industries or activities that are inconsistent with their values and beliefs. 2. Risk mitigation. By avoiding companies with poor ESG performance, investors can reduce their exposure to potential financial, reputational, and regulatory risks. 3. Strengthening investor influence. Through negative screening, investors send a strong message to excluded companies, encouraging them to improve their practices and align with sustainable and ethical principles. 4. Enhancing performance. Studies have shown that ESG-focused investment strategies, including negative screening, can deliver competitive financial returns, indicating that sustainable investing need not come at the expense of profitability. Negative screening and exclusions are vital components of ESG investment strategies. By excluding companies involved in controversial or unsustainable activities, investors can align their portfolios with their values and contribute to a more sustainable and ethical financial system. Through thoughtful identification and implementation, negative screening helps investors reduce risks, strengthen their influence, and achieve competitive financial returns while driving positive change in the corporate world.